I just want to let you know that you've put me on the wagon. Usually I have gin and tonic. Right now I'm drinking tea, so I'm ready for you now.
Okay, guys, this is his subliminal way of desperately begging you to please click a link below. Make sure to send us money via monthly or just one-time donation via PayPal. We really appreciate it because tea is cheap. I think it's better, but he needs his gin and tonic if he's going to survive.
That's right. That's exactly right. I have my gin and tonic.
Because I hear you're working on elections. I just finished up working on elections myself.
Yeah, I saw that. Tell us about how that all shook out. Okay.
So, for those who do not know, I was a intern for Tim Hugo, who is former Majority Caucus leader in the Virginia House of Delegates. And those of you who are following know, Virginia has lost its Republican majority in the state legislature and has turned blue. And as the governor proudly announced, Virginia is now blue. Wow. So let's unpack that. What does that mean? So what does that mean for Trump? What does it mean for Virginia and America as a whole? Right. There's a lot to unpack here. So first, a little context. Virginia was the cradle of the Confederacy. It's where Robert E. Lee is from. It was a major southern state during the Civil War, and it still has a lot of that southern culture to it. However, ever since the 90s, there has been a continuous growth from the D.C. area, metropolitan D.C. area, and all the bureaucrats and the executive branch workers who all lean left. The big government people. Big government.
Deep state. The deep state. The bedroom town of the deep state.
Exactly. They have been spilling over into Maryland and also Virginia, and it's constantly been growing and growing and growing. And just as the pattern of history, it was inevitable. It was going to happen eventually.
Yep.
There's that fact that people keep missing about their analysis of Virginia. I've listened to a lot of analyses, and some of them are really good. Some of them miss some points. Let's start with first of all, we're dealing with local elections here.
Yeah.
Local elections are very different from national. However, smart politicians will use what goes on in the national to affect the local.
Right.
9 out of 10 people in Northern Virginia will hate Donald Trump. It doesn't mean they hate Republicans, and it doesn't necessarily mean they hate conservative ideas. One example, Tucson, Arizona. I think there's this one policy, very, very conservative illegal immigrant policy. They overwhelmingly voted for, I think 70%. But at the same time, Tucson voted overwhelmingly for Hillary Clinton.
Right.
So you have to keep in mind, even though we only see 2 colors, red and blue, on the map, you have to understand the local mindset is very different from the national mindset, and the local perceptions of local politicians and actual policy are very different than whether there's an R or a D next to their name.
Right.
The reason why, a big reason why there was really a blue wave, very few elections turned out well for conservatives or Republicans. Very few elections.
Yeah.
By pretty much every standard of measure, it was a failure on the Republican part. Not necessarily a failure to do the work. It's the campaign. The Republicans pulled off a decent campaign. Most of the elections were, like for the example of the election I was on, he only lost by 6 points. And considering that was a D2 state, meaning there's 2 percentage points majority Democrat, and the opponent won by 2%, 52% of the vote.
So does that mean that the Republican candidate you were working for got his base out, his base voter, and then the Democrat got his base, and since there are more Democrat registered voters, then that they're going to win. Is that what you're saying? That's the mathematics.
Pretty much. What we were hoping is that the Democrats and a lot of the middle ground people would vote Democrat on other things, but mostly be voting on vote because he's a good guy and he's done a lot for the community.
Right.
Versus the other guy who was mostly running on an anti-Trump platform.
Right.
That's the other thing to consider. The Democrats that won, about half of them are normal Democrats. No everyday.
Okay. Moderate. Yeah.
Yeah, moderate. The other half are really crazy radicals. Like the guy that this other guy, he wants to remove private health insurance. That's one thing on the Democrat agenda. Another thing is they want, like, they're talking redefining assault weapon to include Glocks.
Right.
So they're effectively thinking of advocating legislation to remove Glocks in Virginia, the whole state of Virginia, make Glocks illegal. They also are looking at repealing right to work legislation to make it a mega union state. So
Right.
a lot of
They can't do that because the Supreme Court Janus case and the Supreme Court Beck case that I was involved in.
Stop them.
They
It won't
can't
stop
do
them.
it. They're going to get slapped down by every federal judge. It's a waste of their time. Let them try to do it. I hope they try to do it. They're going nowhere on that.
Here's the thing that a lot of pundits need to consider is that like the 2018 election, this election in Virginia are mostly in response to Trump. They're electing Democrats to cut their nose to spite their face. The thing is, the Democrats are going to have, like in 2020, the next election, are going to have a reconciliation with reality. We basically have to understand
A Jesus moment. They're going to have a Jesus moment.
Come to Jesus moment. Are the Democrats better than Trump? Trump, yes, he has lots of problems. If you're moderate or left, you definitely will have policy problems, of course, personality problems, but you're going to have to ask yourself, are the Democrats any better?
Well, not only that, what we're doing in our campaign is we're putting out the question to the NPPs, the no party preference voters, who are more registered in California and the district than there are Republicans. And our message is, why are you still a Democrat? Question mark.
Right.
And this is beginning to resonate. I've been approached by long-time, some of these people, long-time liberal Democrat women who have now formed suburban women and women from wealthier and middle class and even lower classes of people that have formed a squad of what they call disaffected Democrats who are now working for the Andy Caldwell campaign that I'm the manager of. So I want to ask you this question. What is the registered registration in the state of Virginia, Republican versus Democrat versus NPP, if you know?
I don't know the exact numbers of who's registered.
Right.
What I do know is that this election was very much a concentration on the suburban woman. Because all of a sudden, all the political pundits and researchers and analyzers have decided that the holy grail that will decide all elections is the suburban woman vote.
Right.
Now, they said people like Beto O'Rourke or Robbie O'Rourke was supposed to be like the the perfect sweet child for this suburban.
Right.
No, actually no.
Right.
But there is a lot of truth to that. That is a very powerful vote, and Trump is not exactly the best allurement to these suburban middle class women.
Okay, don't have any drill down on the exact number of those people that you're talking about predicted by the pundit. Have you drilled down into that database and found out did this turn out to be the case that it was the female suburban voter that did it?
It definitely was the suburban vote. See, we knew that we were going to get killed.
The suburban woman vote, which is what they have predicted.
I don't know if it was necessarily a suburban woman vote, but as for urban, suburban, and traditionally urban has always been dominated by Democrats, and suburban's been battleground.
I know.
And in this particular case,
the problem with these predictions, even in these local races, is that these are the same people that said that Hillary Clinton was going to win by 83%. So I hope they keep it up, making these predictions. I don't think that the Virginia collapse and going blue, I don't think that's going to have any effect at all on the 2020 election.
I will say this. I was very shocked. The day after the election, I got endless calls from different conservatives and Republicans. I couldn't believe. I thought these were veterans. They were almost on the verge of tears. Yeah. We're all gonna die. It's all lost. And I'm sitting here like, I'm just happy I could finally live in a non-completely blue state for a few months. It was something like 5 months or 6 months or whatever, and it was great. And it still is.
Well, you see, these people are not used to a political combat. When you get kicked off a horse, the best thing you can do is to jump right back on. And that's what we're doing here in California, and it's a growing thing. People are so fed up Remember we talked about on a previous podcast, things have to get worse before they can get better. Well, they're getting worse, and they've gotten worse, and now they're starting to get better. Anyway,
after the session meets and they start putting forward policy, we'll see how much they truly hate.
We'll have a lot of podcasting to do, Alex.
Oh, thanks.
Cheers,
thanks for the whole thing. You take care.
Bye-bye. See you later.